Okay, so previously we discussed a ladder diagram as one way of programming our PLC. Now, another way of programming our PLC is using the statement list method or the mnemonics. Now, this programming method is in the text form using the statement list instruction set. Now, this method is preferred by programmers who are familiar with programming languages. Now, there are actually 7 basic PLC instructions in the statement list, but the first 5 are the following. You have load, which is represented by LD. Now, the load is basically used when you start your programming, or that is start branching out. Then the number 2 is the AND or AND gate. Okay, and we know that AND in our previous discussion is connected in serial form or serial connections of contacts. Then we have the third one is OR, which is represented by O. These are parallel connections of contacts. And we have the NOT OR, we call it sometimes as inverter. These are actually, this NOT or inverter actually represents the normally closed contact. In this form, it is in letter N. And finally, out. Okay, out is actually the end result of your or the output of your network, no, which is actually represented by the equal sign. Okay, so let's have some basic example on how to make use of this basic PLC instruction. Okay, so we have here example of load and AND instruction. So we have here network 1. We have here a ladder diagram representing a particular system. So we have here contact I0.1 and I0.0 and I0.1, which are connected in series form. And we have here output Q. Okay, so this is the ladder diagram equivalent. So what will be the mnemonics or statement list equivalent of this network 1? So the first step is to use the command load. Okay, load I 0.1, 0.0 I mean. And then since I 0.1 here is connected in series with I 0.0, then we make use of the command A, meaning and I 0.1. Then the output Q is represented by equals Q 0.0, meaning to say that this is now the output of your network. Okay, so this is actually your statement list. So it's very, very easy to interpret or make use of the statement list programming. Then we have here another example, example number 2. Again, it is in the series form, but this time I 0.1 is normally closed. So again, the first step is to load I 0.0. So LD I 0.0. Then since I 0.1 again is connected in series with I 0.0, so you have AND A, okay? And it is connected to I 0.0, which is normally closed, so you have not. So again, from our previous definition, the not is represented, or the normally closed contact is represented by not. So, and not I 0.1. Then equals the output Q 0.0. So that's an example of load and AND instruction. Then let's make use of the load and OR instruction. So for example number 1 here, if you notice that we have one network, okay, with inputs I 0.0 and I 0.1, which are actually connected in parallel form, right? So again, to start your program, you just make use of the instruction load LD I 0.0 again, and then since I 0.1 is connected in parallel, so we make use of the command O, meaning OR I 0.1, and then final output equals, then you have Q 0.0. That will be your statement list equivalent of this particular ladder diagram. Okay? Now, another example is example number 2, wherein your I 0.1 is normally closed, but again connected in parallel with I 0.0. So again, the first step is to make use of the command LD, load I 0.0, then OR, since it is connected in parallel, so you have OR, and the contact is normally closed, so you use not, then input I 0.1. Then we have equals, then Q 0.0. That is how to make the statement list equivalent of this particular ladder diagram with a normally closed contact in parallel with your input I 0.0. Okay, then we have here another PLC instruction, basic PLC instruction. Then, okay, so we have here number 6. Number 6 is actually AND load, or represented by A, then the load command. What does this mean? These are actually used, this command is used when you have a serial connection of logic blocks. Not a contact, but a block. A logic block contains several number of contacts. And then we have here number 7, the OR load, or represented by O. You make a space here, and then LD. Okay, so this command is actually used when you have parallel connections of logic blocks. Again, a logic block contains 2 or more contacts. So we have here an example on how to make use of the AND load and the OR load command. Okay, so for example, for your network 1, you have I 0.0 here connected in series with I 0.1. So our command here will be, in our statement list, will be load LD, again, I 0.0. Okay, then since I 0.1 here is connected in series with I 0.0, so our next command is A, meaning to say and I 0.1. Okay? Now, since this is one block here, this one, so again, we cannot go directly with giving a command OR to I 0.2, but we start again with load I 0.2, this one here. Okay, so we load this again. That will be our command. Then again, I 0.2 is connected in series with I 0.3. So we make a command and I 0.3. Okay, now again, these two block here, logic blocks, are connected in parallel. Okay, so they are in parallel connection. So we make use of the OR load command. Since it is in parallel, so you make use of OR and then the command load or load. Okay, so we are loading this OR connection. Okay, so we are loading this OR connection, this one here. Then, if you notice that this logic block is connected in series with I 0.4. So that is why our next command is AND, since it is connected in series, and I 0.4. Okay, then we will continue with this particular block here. So our first step is to load again I 0.5. So LD, command LD I 0.5. And then since I 0.5 is connected to I 0.6, which is normally closed, so our command will be series man siya. So and normally closed man siya, not I 0.6. And then, again, atong i-separate na po ning I 0.7 and I 0.8. So, our first command again is load I 0.7. Then, and not connected in series. The normally closed contact, I 0.8. So, and not I 0.8. And again, these two logic blocks are connected in parallel. So, we make use of OR load as your command. No? Then, this block here, and this I 0.4, and this one here, are connected in series. So, our next command is ka-series man siya. So, you have and then load. Okay? So, that will be our command. And then, finally, you have your output Q here. So, we have equal sign, then Q 0.0. Okay? So, that is how to make use of your statement list method of programming. Okay? Now, our example has only one network. So if you have two or more networks, that means that every network should have a statement list representation. So if you have two networks, so you have two statement list, network 1 and network 2. If you have three networks, so you have network 1, you have a statement list there. Network 2, another statement list. And network 3, another statement list. Okay?